Hello everybody, my name is Kris Borgman here with MySoil. I wanted to share 4 easy tips that you can use to make sure that you have a successful lawn care season. Step number 1 is going to be to take your soil test as soon as you can get out in the lawn and do so. As long as the ground's not frozen or too wet, we want to collect those samples now so we can get that information back and start to develop our plan for the season. What I like to do when I'm collecting my soil samples is really take the time and walk through the lawn for the first time of the season and really evaluate what my weed pressure looks like, if I've got damage from disease from the winter that's going to need to be addressed, and then just overall conditions of the lawn. Obviously, we're early in the season here. The lawn's still pretty dormant right now, but it's starting to green up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and collect our soil samples and just kind of evaluate the things we see as we go. So why are we collecting soil, and what type of information is this going to give us? The reason we do this is because it's going to set our product selection for the season. It's going to help us select if we need to make a pH adjustment, so whether we need to bring our soil pH up or if we need to bring it down. It's also going to help us determine what fertilizer product we're going to want to use for the season. And this is really the ratio of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that we're going to need to balance out our nutrition in our lawn. So now that we've pulled our soil sample, we've gotten our data back, let's take a look and see how we use this information to select the proper products that we're going to need for the season. If I pull up my sample here that I took just a week ago, we can see here that my lawn is low on nitrogen, high on phosphorus, and a little bit low on potassium. So what does this tell me? It's recommending a product here that has just nitrogen and potassium. Because our phosphorus is so high, we're going to essentially draw down on that like our bank account. So we don't need to apply phosphorus. So my strategy for the season is going to be to apply a nitrogen and potassium fertilizer, so a balanced fertilizer. It's important to remember that the product that's recommended is going to be the product you're going to use for the season. This is going to be applied every 5 to 6 weeks during the growing season. I also see on my soil test here that my pH is good or in the optimal range, so there's no reason to put any pH adjustment products down. If you do have a pH adjustment recommendation on your MySoil test, this is a great time to go ahead and put that down. So whether it be elemental sulfur to bring the pH down or a liming product to raise your pH, this is a great time to put that down. This can go down prior to your normal fertilizer application that'll probably happen in the next 3 to 4 weeks or so. All right, so again, to wrap up step 1, pulling our soil samples, evaluating our lawn, and developing our strategy for both fertilizer and pH adjustment for the season. So step number 2, getting ready for the season, is really an equipment check. I like to go ahead and make sure my spreader's in good working order, weed eaters, string trimmers, blowers, and most importantly your mower. Are your blades sharpened, oil changed, everything in good working order? Sometimes we forget where we left it off the end of last season when we tucked it away. So just ensure everything's ready to go for the season. Take a quick 10-15 minutes to go through your equipment and see where you're at. So step 3 is to check your irrigation. If you have an automatic irrigation system that was turned off and your system was blown out last fall, it's time to start turning that on and evaluate if you have any issues with sprinkler heads, cracked pipes, whatever it may be. This is a perfect time to go ahead and evaluate that system. If you don't have an automatic irrigation system, what's your plan for the season? And are you relying on rainfall as your irrigation source? If so, what you want to do is plan your fertilizer applications with those timings as well. So if you know you're going to catch a good rain, we want to get out in front of that, try and get our product down, get that product into the ground, and really take advantage of that natural rainfall. If you don't have automatic irrigation and you rely on manual irrigation, what's your plan for your manual irrigation system? There's a lot of new manual irrigation systems out there that allow you to put up multiple sprinkler heads across your property that make manual irrigation much easier. So just determine what your irrigation plan is for the season If you have the automatic irrigation system, let's turn it on, let's check it, let's run it, make sure everything's in good working order. Okay, and finally, step number 4 is pre-emergent application for crabgrass prevention and other grassy weeds. This is a very important step we need to start planning for now. What this is going to do is provide us protection against crabgrass and other grassy weeds coming up. So we're going to use what's called a pre-emergent. Once soil temperatures start to hit an average of 50 to 55 degrees, that's when we need to put down our pre-emergent application to prevent crabgrass and other grassy weeds. To determine if your soil temperatures are in the right range for your first application of pre-emergent, you can simply use a meat thermometer and look at the soil temperature in the top 2 to 3 inches of the soil. Also, we will be sending many of you notifications when your soil temperatures in your area reach the optimum time to put down pre-emergent for crabgrass. So to check your soil temp at home, you can easily just put the thermometer in the ground. I'm going to go down about 2 to 3 inches here. Once that number starts to read on average during the week, about 50 to 53 degrees, that's when we want to put our pre-emergent down. Right now we're at 37 degrees, so we're still quite a few weeks out from our first pre-emergent application. Your first application of pre-emergent is going to be followed up in 35 days with another application when the soil temperature starts to approach 70 degrees. This is going to catch any late flushes of crabgrass or grassy weeds that might try to come up. Adopting this pre-emergent strategy and planning for it now will ensure that you don't have grassy weeds in your lawn. At MySoil, we hope to ensure that your lawn care journey is successful and we can help guide you along the way.